What's up guys, ZiSotto here, and today we're taking a look at the new patch notes, Happy Trees patch 4.8. And we're starting with the skins, because usually we're going to go through them pretty quickly, then going through the balance changes and everything else, and that's where we're going to stay for a while. The first new skin is Bob Ross Sylvanus. It's literally, in my opinion, the best skin in the game. Everything about this skin has changed, like all the animations, the ultimate paints the floor, the one paints the floor, the heal is like happy little clouds, and one is like happy little trees that you will get painted. You also get a frame with it and whatnot, so it's friggin' amazing. Just I would never talk about the skin that much otherwise, but this one is just so good. It's literally Bob Ross on top of Sylvanus painting a portrait, which is just freaking cool. So yeah, best skin in the game, literally, for me. Then we have this Royal Guard with Scorgi, which is Erlang Shen. That's alright. We have Sol, I'm not sure what it's called, Galactic, I guess, something like that. Kind of in the same theme as Agni. The hair looks pretty cool in the game. I know that other Sol skins kind of look similar, but this one does have nice animations overall, I would say. Then we have a Toth skin. It's a bit like the, what they call, like, Arakor in World of Warcraft, in Burning Crusade. Very dark skin, like dark themed, stuff like that. It seems at the moment like his ultimate is actually more quiet, which would suck, but we'll see. And then there is, I call it Shredder Kuzenbo, because such what it is inspired by Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's okay, I guess. And there's Obey Thanatos, which is interesting enough not based on his base model, but on his, well, I forgot what that one is called, the one with the long hair. And I would say that one is pretty cool. And with that, let's actually look at all these changes that we have in this patch. Kuzenbo Dance Mode, Scylla Cutesy Avatar, got achievements for Ganesh, and the Bob Ross Twitch event, which is the Bob Ross bundle. I think it's supposed to be 700 gems. It's a Bob Ross Sylvanus. It's a loading frame where your guard gets like slowly painted. It's a loading screen skin. Oh, I didn't even notice that was in there as well. So background as well, and a paint splatter jump stamp, which is Bob Ross' face when you jump. I freaking love this. Everything about this, honestly. Bug fix to Phantom Veil, where it would make Ice's wings invisible. And well, this is a long wall of text. I will not read this all out because you get the idea anyways, just by the changes. What Hi-Rez is trying to do is prevent early game snowball, because it's a main complaint in SMITE at the moment, and for that they've taken a few measures. And the first one is the XP is changed, so it's easier to get from level 1 to level 2. It's less XP needed at 225, so you can get there just from the wave or just from a jungle camp, apparently. So what that means is that like even if the enemy invades your small minions after level 1, after the first wave, if they get lane pressure, it doesn't matter, because both of you will be level 2 anyways. So they don't get that early power spike, which they can snowball with, because they have 2 abilities when you have 1, and kind of, you know, push you out completely because of that. Same in mid, basically, to some extent. So this is going to be a decent benefit in that regard. In return, level 2 to level 3 takes longer, and level 3 to level 4 also takes longer. So it's just kind of evened out a little bit in that regard. I don't know if this is enough, because obviously the ones to clear wave first will still hit level 2 first now. And they have then they hit level 2 in the wave, and they also have pressure at the same time because they cleared first. So kind of puts you in a bad spot if you're not the one who clears first. This will be tested on PTS and will not go live yet, though, and it's going to be changed until like 4.9 that we'll be testing around, and we'll see what we get. Likewise, the Gold Fury gets some adjustment, a little more health, a little less extra gold per minute, a little less extra gold as a base value, and sorry, a little less extra health per minute, and also a little more extra gold per minute. So the value starts low, but then gradually goes higher, meaning that early Gold Furies are worth even less now. And that brings us to the bug fixes. There's nothing major to be said here. I'm just going to say this is like a bug fix for Bastet, Ganesh, Hades, Capri, Kuzenbo, Nuwa, Ram, Raven, and Morrigan. nothing, like mostly just updated descriptions and stuff like that. And that already brings us to the item changes. The first one is Emperor's Armor. Now, Emperor's Armor was pretty much never picked up. Rafa built it once, and that was pretty much it. Base stats on that item are relatively weak, and that's why it sees a buff now. Increased protections by 10, and the passive for the ally tower getting more attack speed is increased from 30% to 40%. Dramatic break. It's nothing major, honestly. It's pushing it in the right direction, but I doubt we'll see it much because of that at first glance. Because the part that you're using more is the one where you're trying to reduce the enemy tower attack speed over that, and there are just other items that are so much more important for either solo laners or supports right now that I doubt it's gonna really do much. Next change is definitely more impactful. Hastened Fatalis. Price increase by 300 gold to 2,600. So this is pretty expensive now, considering how cheap it was once a while ago. In return, it also gets an extra 5% attack speed, which is not much. So the point here is to nerf hunters. The unfortunate thing about that is that it also nerfs mages that are making use of this item and that benefit from it and that don't have their haste in their kit anymore. And it also nerfs assassins, Bakasura and Kali, two assassins that are already performing like trash. Freya, who's already not performing that well at the moment. Chronos and Sol have been seeing play, but probably also not the strongest characters by foremost out there. So nerfing Hastened Fatalis that way kinda comes with weird implications. It's still buildable, but it's a lot more expensive, a lot more luxury, a lot more, you know, if you compare this to Ekival now, like stat-wise, it's just such a big difference. And yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not too happy about this change. I'd like Hastened Fatalis being in the meta a little more. You were still not forced to build it, but it was built a lot. And while it is annoying, it has its perks. And now, well, especially because like Freya, neither Freya nor Bakasura nor Kali were buffed this patch. None of them got any compensation for this indirectly nerfing them more, and that's, in my opinion, very frustrating. Shogun's Kusari, an item that was already not that bad in my opinion, gets a price reduction by 200. It also gets a magical protection reduction by 10, which is not crazy by any means, not bad. But in return, it gets an attack speed increase by 10% on the aura. So 25% attack speed. This is quite something. This is 25% attack speed. This is like a full attack speed item. One of the better ones, like up there. And as such, a lot of characters can make use of this. I think, well, A, you can still build on supports, obviously, but B, you can also build this on certain solo laners that benefit a lot from attack speed. I think in Bellona or maybe Osiris here. 25% attack speed just gives them so much more bully potential. And if you get that in an item that otherwise has defensive stats and has good stats overall, I would say this is a pretty strong pickup. It's still not going to be replacing much on supports when you're like looking for like Sov or Thebes, but all in all, solid buff. Maybe too much in my opinion. And that brings us to the god changes. Ares. Base protections, another one, increased from 17 to 20. Fair enough, hit lower than the others, and this buffs him a little bit. Obviously not the highest tier support at the moment, but you know, a good Ares is still scary. And giving him a little bit of a buff, it's fine. Chronos also gets buffs. Not so much directed at the late game, but more at the early game. The one thing here is stop time, which gets an extra 10 damage, base damage, per rank. So, no, you know, not too crazy early on. Not too crazy in late game, but a little bit of extra clear early on and a bit of extra poke early on. And the other one, which I think is the bigger one, is Rewind getting a cooldown reduction. And now starting at 100 instead of 120 seconds and then going up to 80, down to 80. So it's not... I don't think most Chronos players max all that much anyways. It depends on your playstyle, I suppose. But now there's less of a reason to max it before late game because 100 seconds are pretty good. So that's a thing now, I guess. Decent buffs in return for the hits he's taken. And also, obviously, the Fatalis nerf. Question is, why only Chronos? We've seen him being played in the SPL though, so he's not terrible. So yeah, that's it. Izanami. Fade away. Decreased mana cost from 90 to 70 to 70 at all ranks. Just, you know, a bit of streamlining because escapes are sometimes very expensive for really no reason when they're supposed to be used to escape. And that's one of those. Jing Wei gets a buff. Agility. For those who are waiting for a Jing Wei buff, we got you, fam. Alright, Harris. Adjusted cooldown from 20 to 16 seconds to 18 to 16 seconds. And it stays on those cooldowns for 1 rank each. It now provides a scaling power buff going from 10 to 30 physical power and 20% movement speed on use. This effect is increased to 20 up to 40 physical power and 30% movement speed when used while in the air. That's quite a lot. I mean, obviously without Hastened, she's not in the best place. And I don't know how she will work now. But getting 40 physical power and 30 movement speed is pretty decent, especially when you already going in aggressive. Now the problem that comes with that is she gets this extra power, but it's mainly for the basics. Because if you want to have the higher power, you're gonna use the knock up. You're gonna use the knock up to get that steroid. So you've already used it, so you don't get the extra power for the knock up. So, yeah. I'm actually not quite sure how long the duration is here. It says short duration after use, and there's no description on that. And that obviously would make a difference here. I would expect it doesn't last long enough until you can use another ability again that would directly damage outside of maybe the ultimate. But even for that is interesting. Kukan gets a mana cost decrease for his Whirlwind. Nothing too crazy, but makes sense because 110 mana cost is quite high for an ability, so I can see why it went down to 90. Raven gets nerfs. Should not surprise anyone who's been watching the SPL. Raven was way up there. 10-inch at his fist. Base damage decreased from 120 to 100 at the first rank, and then it scales up to the same amount on the highest rank. Okay, I just heard that the Jingwei buff lasts for 4 seconds, so a decent amount of time actually. Gets you quite a few basics and quite a bit of movement speed. Also, much better scale that way. It gets you out of a lot of things. And the other change for Raven is Mystic Rush, damage reduction from 50% to 40%. I don't think that will hurt Raven too much. He still has the potential to rush Sunder in the jungle. Bullies with us 1 more than his 3 anyways. And yes, it's going to be a little less damage, but it's not going to be crazy less damage. Like 20 damage, okay. It's not like this ability is your main damage source. And Mystic Rush still gives you more than enough damage reduction, and it's still a very powerful tool. You'll still, you know, go in on a target pretty damn hard when you ult them, and that's all that matters in my opinion. So I'm thinking this doesn't do much for Raven. I'm thinking he's pretty much in the same place. Whoever, Serqet also gets a nerf. Serqet also very high performing in the Masters series basically. And so she gets a reverted buff, basically. It's a Catalyst. Decreased bonus damage from 2 poisons, from 50% to 10% of the target's max health. Meaning that 3 poisons still have the same damage, but 2 poisons a little less. I mean, you want to use it when you have 3 poisons on, so... you know, doesn't matter that much. And Last Breath gets, like, fixed damage values, which are a bit... they were, like, a bit wonky before. They get a little more streamlined, but the first ranks also get nerfed a little bit, you know. Bit of damage taken down here. I'm not sure how much this will do for her. This the Catalyst change. It did something, you know. It will do something, but I'm not sure if it's enough to take off the meta. I think the big deal with Serqet, more than any of this, is still that she can rush Bombas and Bluestone now, whereas in earlier seasons she only could get Bombas and that's it. And Bluestone on Serqet just has so much early aggression potential because one already deals so much damage, and that the extra ticks on that are something else. And I'm not quite sure if these changes will take her out of the meta. I don't think it will push her away too much, at least. Who will be pushed up, however, is Sam Wukong. Sam Wukong gets the Osiris treatment and gets a scaling increase on both his 1 and on his 2. Magic Cudgel, scaling increased from 50% to 60%. And Master's Will, scaling increased from 50% to 65%. This is quite a lot of extra scaling. And this could be interesting. I don't know. I could imagine with how Sun Wukong works and everything that we see like a Jungle Sun Wukong next. Who knows? You know, after Ravan, with him like having higher scalings here. Jungle Sun Wukong is not something that didn't exist. Let's put it that way. It's something that was rarely played and was more of a pocket pick. But with these scalings, it makes more sense to go towards a power focus build. And overall, you know, he can get away with building Sunder instead of Beats first as well, because he's got his ultimate and stuff, and he's got a solid amount of control. And I could see maybe him going into the jungle as well and going in a rampage there. Let's find out. And last but not least, we have Terra, a very justifiable nerf here. She's been performing pretty well. Immediately just showed her potential whenever he could. And what is nerfed here is the movement speed buff on the ultimate from 30 to 20%. Still a good amount, but just not quite as crazy. Totally fine with me. And now let's talk about the elephant in the room. And by that, I don't mean Ganesh, because Ganesh, you know, he just came out. Let's give him a little bit of time. We're talking about Chronos. Chronos was not touched this patch. And I don't know why. Chronos has been... I've literally, like, I think the last card that was overperforming that much, maybe Susano, maybe someone like there, but I feel like the last one would have been Bologna. Chronos is overperforming on low levels of play. He's overperforming on medium levels of play. He's overperforming in ranked. He's banned there most of the time. And, as we've seen in the SPL, Chronos is also overperforming in the SPL. And the other nerfs here, like Ravan, were directly targeted at SPL. So why not Chronos? Why not the most contested hunter, the most like feared hunter in the SPL? Why does he not get nerfed? When everyone says that his abilities are too easy to confirm, his escape is so fast, his ultimate does so much in terms of control, he's got these high damage values, and he's got so much in his one, it's super bloated. Why are we ignoring that? There are potential reasons. A, Hi-Rez wants to sell more, and they want people to buy Chronos because they know he's OP, and that's the reason. B, somebody at Hi-Rez really likes Chronos and really doesn't want to nerf him. C, for some strange reason, somebody in the balance section is in the illusion that Chronos is actually balanced, which I'm pretty sure a lot of high-level players, as well as a lot of anyone, will laugh about. And that bothers me, because it's been a few patches. He's been like on constant bans because he's so annoying to play against. There's so little punishment to how he works, and so few guards that can do okay against him in lane. And all of that comes together, and it really is just unnecessary. So, closing it out with this statement. One Chronos. Hope to see you all for the next one tomorrow. #AlliedStrong. Duke Sloth out.